Oh yes, that time we've all been waiting for, slightly displaced with some lower temperatures, but it is World Series of Poker time. And today we bring you our very first broadcast of the quote-unquote summer. Though the seasons may be a bit off, it is event number 6, the $25,000 No Limit Hold'em final table, as we glance upon the Amazon room where the action is taking place, and we see 5 players spread out on the now green felt here. Ali Najad alongside my partner Maria Ho, glad to be bringing you this final table. See Jaffe the opener with Queen 10 suited, and Kanit almost guaranteed to be re-raising here. There is that 3-bet to 630,000. And Kanit's willingness to 3-bet an early opener like this speaks volumes to what should be the strength of his hand, given where his chips are in relation to the remaining stacks.
2.3. 2.3 to start, thank you.
Kind of pins his range into a fairly narrow one.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that most players feel like when you are second shortest and there's someone shorter than you, there's this expectation that most likely you will be playing pretty honest in these spots, you know, especially off of about 40 bigs effective. You're not going to go for a lot of light 3-bets against someone that has you covered. But here, Queen 10 suited, just too good to not see a flop.
Jaffe will have the benefit of position moving forward and the benefit of top pair. Kanit with the Broadway gut shot. Jaffe is not going to want to make queens and 10s. That, of course, would give Kanit the nuts. $1.4 plus in the middle. Kanit with 2 million behind. How uncomfortable is this texture for the ace-king after someone's willing to call the 3-bet?
I mean, it's not his favorite flop, that's for sure. But of course, you still look at the fact that you've got 2 overs, you've got that Broadway possibility, and there are other hands that Jaffe would have called a 3-bet with, you know, those medium type of pairs, perhaps, that wouldn't really like to see 2 overcards and wouldn't really be able to proceed. So because of that, I think you see Kanit kind of probing with that bet size of 340K. Clearly a win if you could just get your opponent to fold right here, right now, but still quite a bit of equity if they do call.
Blinds have ticked up to 40 and 80,000 from our starting point at the 80K big blind ante.
All in?
All in.
All in, says Jonathan Jaffe.
Yeah, and when I talked about Kanit having equity, this is Jaffe very clearly trying to deny him that equity.
And Kanit makes the call with the ace-king, Maria.
Yeah, not necessarily a call that I think everybody would make, but I think he felt like, given the size of the pot up to that point and what he's invested, if he feels like all of his outs are live, then he felt like he was somewhat committed to try to realize his equity.
Well, the good news is the ace and the king are winners, along with the 10, despite one of the 10s being blocked. Now a 9 on the turn, giving Jaffe an open-ender. Kanit has 6 outs. The king off the board. Jaffe has him covered. Is this the end of the road for Mustapha, or can he connect? He cannot. The 4 of hearts.
Good game, guys.
Good game, Musta.
Good game, man.
Gives us our first casualty here at the event number 6, $25,000 no limit final table. And a customary good game exchanged between the boys. And
Good luck, huh?
Yeah,
nice professional respect there.
Nice hand.
They each know what it takes to get yourself this deep into an event. And for Mustapha, he will be left to ponder what could have been had he chosen a different line. I think you hit the nail on the head, though, Maria. That's a call that not everybody would make.
Wait, 160.
160 to go, says Mateos on the button with the king 3 suited, and 5s are proving sticky. Over to Tyler.
Call.
In the small, he will flat. More of that middling ace business for Liang. Not a 3-bet pot this time, though, so he will come along after the Cornell flat. And another 3-way pot here.
Good player.
2 jacks and a deuce. A good-looking board for Tyler's 5s.
Yeah, Tyler in the worst position, though, so definitely going to give Mateos first shot.
Backdoor spades and king high. Ask the question.
140.
Yeah, it feels like enough to definitely inquire if anybody has something that they are willing to invest more chips with.
Call. Go.
Down to heads up. And now Mateos hits the 3, which could very well be
Check.
the justification behind checking back and now turning this hand into a bit of a bluff catcher, Maria?
Yeah, especially when Cornell does have quite a few Jack X's of the Broadway variety, especially both unsuited and suited, calling from the small blind. So a little pot control.
Yeah, a check back from Mateos. And for Cornell, he might be feeling like using these as a bluff catcher as well at this point. We'll see if he goes for value. Maybe a defensive bet, a little block bet.
Yeah, if we think about hands like 6s and 7s and 9s and 10s, the hands that, you know, beat you but might check back on the turn, it could be a little thin to try to draw value, but looks like he is going to go for it, hoping to get a call from ace highs and, you know, hands like the one that Mateos has.
285.
285,000. It's from the healthy choice part of the menu, pretty lean.
Right, so the opposite of the menu that you work with on the daily.
Are you
As
referring
you-
to this snack size Twix that I've just opened? You got to keep the blood sugar up in the booth, Maria. Also, I have negotiated a side contract with the good people at, what is this, Nabisco? Who makes this crap?
You need to go for a Dole sponsorship before that.
I'm a fan of the pineapple juice. How weird is this spot for Adrian?
I mean, sizing just looks like it's begging for a call, right? It looks so value heavy. Oh, wow. Is he doing what I think he is doing?
Oh, absolutely. Reach for your cape. A bit fumbly, however, with the delivery, and you wonder whether or not Tyler Cornell's going to be reading into this whatsoever.
Wait.
Just freaking nerves of steel here.
You saw him take a couple of big breaths,
200.
muster the courage, and in it goes. And just ask yourselves whether or not you've got this in you as a poker player. because it's what it takes to put together the sort of resume Adrian has. And you see that big gulp.
I mean, that
Tyler.
lean sizing you were talking about just made Mateos feel like it's not Jack X heavy, but just the exact type of hands that Cornell has that cannot call this raise.
Yeah, smelled more like balsa wood than oak.
And we talk about what it takes to be a world-class player and what it takes to build this type of resume that Mateos has. And this is what it takes, pulling the trigger at a huge final table against a big stack.
El Matador strikes. Cornell folds the winner.
I'm a OCD/germaphobe, but that I do not mind.
Well, nothing germy about chips that hundreds of people have been touching for days. Jonathan Jaffe moving all in with the remainder of his stack left with just 180,000. The King 5 suited is where he has chosen to draw the line.
480.
Got through Mateos, and now a 3-bet from Tyler. Not sure what his hand is just yet.
Oh, wow.
Whatever it is, it's going to meet Mike Liang's ace-king suited.
Yeah, Cornell coming for an ISO raise, but Liang, of course, too much hand.
Tyler, too much chips. Liang, not the chip leader. Cornell has him well covered. But we know that we are not in the business of flatting with ace-king suited.
1.48.
And so 1.48 it is. And we await Tyler Cornell's holding to determine whether or not it's the kind of hand that's going to be able to proceed. It is not. Apparently a big, quick fold, rather, from Cornell. So King 5 in dire straits against ace-king suited. Team Jonathan Jaffe.
Same
Roots
difference.
for hearts or a 5.
Which is it? 180?
Yeah.
Cornell had ace tray. Couldn't have been the ace of clubs. There it is.
Yeah, set up the pot because he gets some of that right away.
Yeah.
180 there.
Put 180 in the middle, and then I get the rest of that bet. And then I get the 300. And then this is my 180.
The struggle was real there on the accounting. You try hiring hundreds of dealers out of thin air and making sure that everybody is completely airtight. Not an easy task to staff this thing. To the flop we go. It is Jack 4 tray. The 5 works for that King 5 right now, but the situation is critical for Jonathan Jaffe. You see the equity, just 14%. The turn gives him a 9, and that's not going to help. It is down to a 5 and a 5 alone for Jonathan Jaffe. Can he connect in this almost 1 million chip pot and stay alive? No, he can't.
Good game. Nice playing with you.
Stuff, Adrian.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Hello, needles for Mateos.
Yeah, what a beaut, and what a spot to just call from the big blind. Super under-repped.
Oh, no.
Oh my goodness, are you kidding me?
Trip kings for Tyler Cornell.
Wow.
And just aces up for Mateos, who has the ace of hearts working in this 680K pot. Checks it over to Cornell, and the trapper has just become the trappee.
Yeah, I know people out there are thinking, oh, well, this is what happens when you slow play. You should be 3-betting. But guys, like, let's not be results oriented here. The man really wants to maximize value for his aces, and this is just so unfortunate.
Calls the 175K C bet from Tyler, 350 more into the middle. We now sit on 1 million plus, and a second check from Mateos for Cornell. How much will he choose to bet?
Yeah, and the strength of Mateos' hand is so disguised to Cornell.
$600K, roughly 60% pot from Tyler.
Yeah, and certainly a lot of hands that could double barrel. That, of course, Mateos is still beating. Doesn't just make it that official that Cornell has to have trips in his hand in this spot. You know, certainly there's a lot of those Queen 10, Queen Jack type combos that would perhaps go for 2.
Well, Queen 10 would come home here in the form of a straight, as Mateos called the 600,000 and now awaits Tyler's sizing on the river in a 2.2 million chip pot.
Yeah, stack to pot ratio just about 1 here. So for Cornell, feeling like if Mateos has a hand like 9x, right, how much would he really be willing to call, if anything? So it's really important to get that sizing right if you want to get a call from worse. This run out, though, not particularly favorable for aces, especially if your opponent triple barrels.
In comes that third barrel. And Mateos hates it. 1 million. And we expect that the 10 jacks and the queen jacks of the world would check back here, concerned potentially about being lured in by a king. And that's why Adrian is so deflated. The draws that would have missed would check back, at least the straight ones.
Absolutely, but he just decides he's so high up in his range, his hand just flatted almost tough to ever think that Mateos has aces in this spot, so puts the chips in.
Yeah.
Tough break.
And Cornell is going to sneak in with 2 9s. We know that the range with which he's going to be willing to pile this button is so big, and for Mateos, what a disastrous holding this is. He shares the 9 with Cornell, and an ace is his lone hope.
As 9 contra 9. Yo as 9.
And this is not the way he scripted his moment.
9s.
Mateos looking for help.
Tyler has 9s. You can see it.
And how immediately gratifying is it for Mike Liang, who pitched those 2 5s a hand ago, to see that he didn't unnecessarily spin the wheel against a couple of overs. Not that he knows what Cornell held, but it would have been a lot of gamble.
Yeah, but just seeing the fact that it's now Mateos' life that's on the line definitely has to feel good.
And it feels even better when it comes 7 high with 2 spades. Dire straits for Adrian Mateos now. Running 3-4 would work. Now an 8 on the turn presents opportunity. A 6, and they carve it up. An ace and Mateos doubles. Anything else, and we're down to heads up. It's a 4.
Good game, guys.
Hey, good game, Adrian.
Adrian
Playing
Mateos
with you.
denied an opportunity at the title here, but nevertheless, a decent haul. 381,000 and change to the young Spaniard, who adds to his already tremendous resume. knocking on the door of the W.
All in.
But not if Mike Liang has anything to do with it. And Mike has moved all in with King Deuce in a disastrous spot against Ace Deuce. All Tyler needs to do is click call and be a big favorite, and he has done exactly that.
Oh.
And now it's Tyler's turn to have Liang dominated in this all-in situation. Is the writing on the wall, though?
Certainly looks that way, doesn't it? $5.25 million in the middle. To the flop we go. Ace Deuce, way the favorite. And now with an ace-high flop, out even further in front, but that little deuce of diamonds is working.
Would be
You
nice.
can have a 5. You can have a 5, not a diamond.
Here comes the turn.
Ooh.
It's a diamond.
Never easy.
We breathe life into Mike Liang's stack. A faint rap at the back door. Who's there? Is it a diamond? The river.
Ooh.
No, it's a deuce.
Hey,
Aces
let us
up
play with
against
you. Yeah,
deuces
good
with the
job.
king.
Thanks.
And Tyler
too.
Cornell claiming victory in the live streets after all that success online. Enjoy your moment. $833,000.
What plus?
And hats off to both he and Mike Liang, along with the rest of the combatants. Maria, final thoughts?
I mean, I enjoyed watching all of these players go at it. And of course, Tyler Cornell feeling like he was a little emotional with this win. Nice to get it under your belt.
Well, he's certified. He's got receipts here in the live streets. Congratulations to Tyler Cornell, champion here in event number 6, a $25,000 no limit hold'em. On behalf of our entire crew here in Las Vegas and my partner Maria Ho, I'm Ali Najad saying so long. Here we go.